Hi guys, you're welcome to the Octopus on Hippo Infos. This is the show where the beautiful game takes center stage and excitement knows absolutely no bounds. We are going to be discussing in this show about local football. They just ended MTN Elite One Playoffs up. We are going to talk a bit about the national team coach, the new coach that just got appointed a few days ago, who is actually on tour right now. We'll talk about the ambience in Cameroon football, increased interest from the public, social media is ablaze, more or less, about happenings in Cameroon football. So to discuss these things, I have a number of gentlemen here with me. Let me begin with the guy in the Bamenda regalia. Hi, Elvis. Welcome.
Hello.
Yeah, Elvis, Ali Elvis. He's a teacher by profession, but a passionate football fan, a Cameroonian football fan, who is here to discuss certain issues with us. Next to him is Frutanda. Hi, Tanda.
Thanks. Hi.
You're welcome.
It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure to have you again.
Yeah.
On the show.
Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. How have you been?
Oh, been putting on well, and I'm excited to be here again to share knowledge on football in Cameroon, and also hear what the panel will also have to bring to the table.
It's been a while.
I tell you,
a lot has happened. Okay, the third panelist is Don Franco or Frank, Mr. Ngong Frank. That's your name, right? So. Frank is also a very passionate supporter of Cameroonian football. He has been around the game as a spectator. He has even worked as a match official sometime in his life. Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Were you satisfied with the playoffs?
Very satisfied.
You were satisfied?
Yes, satisfied.
Were you satisfied that you were subtracted, right?
Well, no, I was
satisfied. Okay, we are going to discuss all of those things here on the Octopus, guys. So, let's talk right after the break. Okay, guys, welcome back to the Octopus. We would jump right into the business of the day. Let's start with the playoffs. The playoffs 2024 up, playoffs up, because the playoffs down is still going on. The playoffs up to determine the champion of Cameroon, rounded off a few days ago in Douala. The Victoria United, champions of Cameroon, from absolutely nowhere. Were you expecting it? Were you expecting it? Let me go with MP first.
Well, if you say from nowhere, I would say it's I will not buy with you, because the president himself really invested. And when somebody invests like that,
no, but it's from nowhere. It's their first. It is their first.
It's their first season, but it's something that has been planned
by
the president and maybe by the local supporters.
Do all your plans come to pass? How come the plans of President Valentine?
If your plans do not come to pass, it's not something to. It's just unfortunate. There's not something to blame. When you have a plan, it's just to attain the objective. Well, maybe he
was not the only one who had a plan to win. So of course
there were other clubs that had the objective to win the championship. Yeah. But with Victoria United, from what you see and you've heard from the president, then you know that they had something to achieve for the season.
Yeah, they finished top of the playoffs table. The last game was against Arena. You were at that game. What was your appreciation of the quality of the football? For that game in particular, that was the final game, and the stakes were so high.
I really want to say Cameroon football has really evolved, because if you check and all the past matches, especially the match Star Arena and Victoria United, when you look at these guys, especially the young guys, you see their engagement, you see the way they play. You know that they are playing actually for something.
Yeah.
And that is something that we should appreciate.
So is that what made the difference, Frank? Were you surprised that Victoria United were champions of Cameroon?
I wasn't surprised at the last day of play. because it was something that was already premeditated. That was something that was
premeditated by
the
who?
federation alongside.
It was arranged by the federation.
That's it. Because.
So you were not surprised at the
I would not like you to say things here. I would not like you to say things here where you can't prove.
I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised. First of all, Victoria United was not supposed to come for these playoffs up. Yes.
Okay, we are going to get into the intricacies of these things. Thunder, when you heard you were on the pitch on that day to watch that game.
I watched the game.
Yeah. Were you impressed? Were you surprised? What was your overwhelming thought at the time when it dawned on you that wow?
Well, looking at
Victoria United are champions of Cameroon.
Itself, both teams had the opportunity to win the trophy. Both teams had the opportunity to be crowned champions.
At one point,
depending on the outcome of the game at 90 minutes. And at the time, when the game was 2-1 in favor of Stade Rennais had countless opportunities
to kill the game.
have killed that game. I think the attacker, the striker, shirt number 18, I don't have the name offhand, he had 2 clearing opportunities to have nailed it. But they didn't make use of that. And Victoria United knew that they just needed to end the game with a draw. Unfortunately for them, towards the 9 minutes of that game, they were able to have the penalty, which they were able to convert it, and they had 13 points that made them champions.
So what was your general appreciation of the final game, that game in particular?
Well, the turnout was very, very good. We saw lots of Victoria fans that flooded the stadium. I think there were fans who mobilized right from Limbe, came to Douala for this game. And we're able to meet a lot of people from Limbe that we know. Personally, I saw quite a lot of people in the stadium who were supporting Victoria. So it was a good thing. And there were players whose parents were there. I think the famous Nathan, the mother was there with a host of others who came to support the players of Victoria. So the turnout was massive from the fans. The coverage, the media coverage was just wow. The game was aired on national TV beside other TVs that did cover the game, and Hippo Infos was equally present there. So it was a great show.
Okay, so I'm going to come back to Frank. You said you were not surprised because you felt like it was premeditated, like this championship was made for Victoria United. How can you maintain that claim? How can you back up that claim?
Okay.
Or what? Why do you feel this way?
Let me stem back from at the end of the first phase of the championship. Victoria United was not among the first 4 teams in their pool.
Yeah.
But because
they were not. Okay.
Yes. But
so how did they find themselves at the playoffs?
Because the nature of the way things are being done in our system, which I cannot really explain, Victoria United was brought in.
No, they were not brought in. They were protests.
They were brought in because they had protested some matches.
And if the protests were legal, then it's not like they were. If they were illegal, they would not have been brought in.
We know the way our football system operates.
Even if they were brought in, they proved it by winning the championship. Look at the opportunities that we have to be careful, please.
Excuse me. We have to be careful with the information we give out there. The truth is there is a lot of false narratives that are flying around, and truly we have to be careful, especially those of us in the media. The things you say, you should because it can give a totally wrong impression when you say they were brought in. No, they actually qualified after a session of legal battles, which they won. If these legal battles were not part of football, they would not have been there in the first place. It is part of the football. You talk about eligible players, maybe disciplinary issues, whatever the case is. So, why do you have that strong belief that they were brought in?
I will still repeat it.
Yeah.
Octopus was not supposed to play the playoffs up. But since they brought them in to the playoffs up, I watched their first match. They performed very well.
Yeah, that was against Dinamo.
Dinamo.
Yes, the first game was Dinamo.
I was there. They performed very well. The second match against Gaza, they performed very well. I liked the team. But the third match against USA, the Young Sport Academy, that's where we started seeing what have been happening during the past.
So who won that game?
USA won that game.
So what will you compare?
USA won that game 2-1.
No, let him land. Let him
I
explain.
won that game 2-1.
But try to make it snappy.
Yes. But because I won that game 2-1, but we were not still satisfied with the result because of the referees involved in that particular match.
Yeah, we are going to talk about the officiating at one point, but I was at that game. There were a lot of contentious decisions, poor officiating. I think everybody that was there would agree. Frank, I'll come back to you. Thunder, you watched the last game. You didn't watch too many games due to your movement, watch schedule, and all of that. Do you think, from what you saw in the final game, that Cameroon football is gradually getting to where we want it to be? Not yet there, of course.
In terms of the football on the pitch, there is a huge improvement in the quality of play in the organization. There is quite a remarkable job that has been done to take the football to the next level. In terms of the officiating as of that game, I think the referees were okay in terms of their performance, because I didn't find any decision that was
overly,
was contentious or that
the last game started
that could cause any controversy. In terms of the crowd, pulling out the crowd, we saw a lot of people who were there. The stadium was full. I think for such a game of that magnitude, if we could have it being played on a stadium with a bigger capacity, to be able to have more fans on the venue, it would have been as well something good. I think it's something to consider in the next season and the seasons to come. So those were my impressions as of this season and as of that last game for the league, for the championship.
Okay. So you talked about the satisfaction for during the officiating, concerning the officiating during the Yosa versus Victoria United game. MP asked you a question, but Yosa won the game. So what gives you the impression of dissatisfaction, even though Yosa won the game?
The fact that you win a game does not mean that you have to be satisfied with the match official. We could have won that game. Yosa could have won that game with a score margin of even more than 3 goals. Yes, but the referees it started by just intimidating the players. There was no freedom from the players of Yosa. So that's why I am concluding that the champion was already premeditated, coupled with the incident that happened during the match Opopo and Kano. Yes, the way the
Yosa Kano.
Yosa Kano. Yes, we're not satisfied with the match official. That's why we see it that Opopo were favored to be champions of.
You see it.
We see it.
Yeah, but you are talking about 2 games out of there were more than 30 games that were played. Each team had 7 games at the playoffs. And if you let's assume that you are correct that the officiating was detrimental to Yosa, who were one of the main challenges, especially at the beginning. They got watered out towards the end. But how does the officiating in 2 games boil down to the fact that the league was programmed for Opopo to win?
Yes, apart of the officials.
So okay, I'll ask you this. Let me put it this way: what's your general appraisal of the officiating throughout the tournament, from the match day 1 right up to match day 7?
Yes, my appraisal, as far as the officials are concerned, I can put it at about 70%. Performance of the officials about 70%. Yes, even though there were some program matches, as I repeat, there were some program matches. The referee of the match, Yosa, Victoria United, and the review of the match cannot use her.
Now,
Yes.
why is Yosa always involved? Is it because something might just have because I always say it is perceived injustice. There might really be no substance to these claims. Of course, referees have bad days. Some make errors. Some people make several errors in a game and in several games. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you go with the mindset that you are always being cheated. MP, do you agree with Frank that Yosa were cheated in the game against Opopo? They were also cheated in the game against
when you listen to Frank, he said the officiating, he gives
70%, which is
it means already a win.
Which is a pass mark.
It's a pass mark for the officials. But you know, us human beings, we always have this thing we call negativity bias. The perception that you can be doing something that is good, but just one bad thing that you do will overshadow the good things that you've been doing. So the match
Yosa Opopo and Yosa Kano
made a lot of, like he said, 2 games played by Victoria United. They played very well and they won. The third game with Young Sport Academy, he saw some
poor officiating
by the officials. But Yosa still won that match against Opopo.
Because of the number 12 man, the fans.
I'm not refusing. I'm with you. You have said 70%. I accept.
So if the officiating is good at 70%, so do you mean that the fans intimidated the referee?
No.
Even if the fans intimidated the referee, I was in that game. That was the first game I watched
during this playoff.
And made me to be impressed, and I loved
the Cameroon League.
All of us love the Cameroon League.
Yes.
Were you happy with the performance of the referee in that particular match?
I was not happy with the performance of that particular match, and that is why I supported. I told, like, the last interview I did, I said I'm a Yosa fan. That is the game that made me to be a Yosa fan. I've never been a Yosa fan. I was supporting the Opopo right from 2015 when I had my own brothers playing in Opopo. But that day I switched to Yosa because I saw the
quality of football.
I saw the energy and the quality of
was football. It about the officiating?
It was. I saw the referee, they were against. I saw the officiating was very poor. But what happened? The guys, they showed that we are ready to prove something, and they did it. Why they didn't continue with the other matches like what we saw with Kano? They just had it in their mind. No. Since Opopo has done this, that is why I call it negativity bias.
Yes.
When you have been doing something that is good and one bad thing, it will just overshadow, which is not good. Yeah.
That is a school of thought, because Frank here said that the game Opopo Yosa was, I was there, I agree. The officiating was really poor, and it was more or less favoring Victoria United. But Yosa won the game. Now the game against Canon, which is actually the reason why Yosa got even sanctioned to the extent of the point deduction, Yosa didn't play well. They didn't play as well as they can play.
Yes.
And it could probably be because of that psychological, don't you think?
Yes. That particular match, Yosa Canon, though the referee of that particular match had some errors, so many errors. In fact, there were about 10 errors from that particular match. The Yosa did not do their job well on that particular day. Seriously. Because before that match, the energy had started dying down. They were psychologically defeated because rumors were spread everywhere.
So who will you blame for that? The team management or
for succumbing to the pressure? Because the people, there are dark arts of sports. People actually they can fine tune their communication, social media. We have seen all kind of communication even in European games. They can create a situation to destabilize the opposing camp. And that is what makes a difference between
and that is why
an excellent team
and football you always have this thing they call mind games.
It could be mind games.
This often plays out in all sports.
Yeah.
I mean, in boxing, you have during the pre-match press conference, the coach or the manager will come and say things that we want to
destabilize
the other camp,
across a message to intimidate the other team or intimidate the players.
Yeah. So
on the other
MP,
side.
I'm
so
going to
perhaps Yosa had started losing their steam
because it
they
got to
already
their
had
heads.
it as
Yeah.
an impression that no matter what they will do, some other person is going to be favored than them. And considering that they have been penalized in the previous game with poor decision making and so on, they feel that in the other games that's what is going to happen.
And
but they were able to still do their job in the first game.
If Yosa had showed that energy that they showed against
Victoria in the Canon game,
in that Canon game,
they
would have been champion today.
So I think if they had, they would have been champion. Still able to have it in their mind that irrespective of the challenges or the issues that they were faced in the game against Opopo, which they were still able to thrive. They can still carry that same spirit,
same energy
to the next
that
game,
because
the
actually adversity
and definitely
sometimes adversity can even be a motivation when you know that it is your back against the wall. So to me, I mean, if I was given an opinion, I would why not use the adversity as a source of motivation.
And also I think one other thing is, in as much as the fans are very passionate about their team, they have to help the team in times of adversity. And they don't really need to take certain things into their own hands and start attacking the referees, destroying even the property
the stadium and all of that
in the stadium, because that only helps to play down on the kind of decision that the officiating bodies will take on the club. And
so
as a result of that, you saw that the club was penalized. They
and
had points deducted and they were fined again. So it doesn't really help in this kind of situation.
Let
the players do the job on the pitch.
Let it end on the pitch. That is a universal law.
Players are facing 11 opponents. The manager on the other side with his technical team is facing the manager on the other side with his technical team. Let them do their job. Let the officiating team of the referees do their job. Let the match officials as well do their job, and let it end there.
That's why I also come back to the fact that the champion was premeditated. Because irrespective of the outcome of that particular match, Yosa lost that match by 1-0. Yosa still had that opportunity to become champion because already had a head-to-head advantage over Victoria United.
Yes.
But they went, instead of punishing the club on one side, they went all around, punished Yosa in such a way that normally the boys even tried playing the last game.
But it
is statutory.
Yes.
It is statutory. Please, guys.
This because the punishment was too harsh. They would have given them the fines and maybe the 3 points would have been maintained.
Okay, guys, let me come in. Let me come in. We are not going to spend the whole evening talking about officiating against Yosa. This is statutory. It is not like it is illegal or it is not a prescription that you can actually, in the statutes, you can actually deduct points for violence against officials. So it depends on the match delegate report.
The rule book, we are the ones making the rule book. Do you think that it has been applied to every club?
We can say that it was harsh.
Well, there are times, it was harsh, but they would have, when you look at what they did to Yosa, the match against Victoria United, that was a third day of play, right? And then with the points they deducted from the officiating Yosa Canon, it was not that poor. If for 90 minutes if you have just 5 minutes of poor officiating, it's not a big problem. They could still correct it in the 85th, in maybe the rest of the minutes. But what did Yosa did? Just that 5 minutes, they had it over their head. The punishment we are talking about, the 3 points, they would have given them something else rather than deducting that 3 points. That
do you not also see, please,
you have to
it depends on what the rule states, and those applying the rules that apply the rules based on their judgment of the situation.
When you see Frank talking about Victoria being champion is something that was premeditated because of the act being posed by the president of Victoria United. Now, this comes to my mind: is it correct for a president of a club to be at the technical bench.
Yes.
When you look at the statistics,
Yes, it is not against the rules of the game.
it's not against the rules.
No, not at all.
It
It's very correct. There's nothing wrong with it.
There's nothing
Yeah,
wrong
for the
with
sake
it.
of educating our audience, because those are
Because
things.
this is
As long as you have the clear, the president, even the president of I think in France is Rennes or something. He goes down to the technical. If you have the
I mean, during the match,
the match has certain number of people,
officials of people. As long as you're connected to the team in the capacity of an official,
3 or 4 like that.
yeah. So within that 4, they can decide to put the
thanks for
president.
enlightening me without.
Yes.
But
my problem is when you look at the president of Hippo.
So he okay.
That's a very
Your
good
point
project.
is he went down there to intimidate his president.
Not his president intimidating the other side. I'm just talking about maybe sanctions, certain sanctions that they were to give to. You think that if it was Opopo with the same act that you have committed, they would have been punished.
Why not? I don't know.
This is a question. This is a question. I was on the stage. Listen,
that's a supposition. Yes.
The same president of Opopo last year in England, I think there was a match against Torre Yaoundé. The same president stopped the match at about 86 minutes of play. Torre was leading Opopo 1-0. He went into the field, caught the ball, and the match ended at that particular player.
One decision was taken by
what if
after that.
They just gave him a sanction of how much? 500,000.
But he was sanctioned.
There was a sanction.
Did the match
were there any point deduction?
Did you any point from him? There was
Because normally in that situation, your club should be suspended.
They didn't.
No, listen.
Let me land.
You cannot stop a match. You cannot. You like the
Why are the
president.
laws
You
going to
cannot
be
do
applied
it.
now? The same incident
cannot
happened
do
last year in Bafang.
So this is where we have people talking. This is where we have people talk when they say
Refugees were molested. But not
young sport is a scapegoat. They just want to punish young sport.
Yeah, please.
But for me, what I will say is this: when you look at the investment that Opopo, that Victoria United, they have put into this Cameroonian football.
Naturally, they are due some favors, eh?
I think
it's just human.
If
that's another way to look at it.
I just want to. Anyone is due favor.
No, Opopo should be favor because we have seen.
Meaning that
investing is not proportional to be a champion. Investment is not that to be a champion.
There are rules to be followed.
We want Cameroonian football to develop.
And we want football to develop. So
if you want football,
when I talk about favors,
if you want football,
I mean that in a situation where you can use, like maybe a judge can use their discretion, someone who has a record of investing probably this is natural.
The truth is, if we sit here today and we are talking about Cameroonian football, we have seen it with previous clubs. Once upon a time, like I've heard, we had clubs like Canon, we had Tonne, we had many clubs that were being favored by the federation. But this was not outspoken because nobody knew anything about Cameroonian football. All they had in their minds were just having players travel abroad and they play and we watch them on TV. But today we have somebody that wants our own league to be fruitful to the local people, to the local population.
We are going to talk about
the I want to go to this point that I was talking about Victoria United.
No, we are going to talk about we are going to talk about the impact of the league on our Cameroon football, the population, all of that. We'll talk about that. But I just want to ask a question. We see the point deduction on Yosa was harsh. All right, let's agree that it was harsh, hypothetically. The sanction on Hamza, the young sport academy defender. Why are we not saying that it was lenient?
No.
Why?
No,
because
he deserved that.
He actually attacked.
He
attacked the official.
Yes,
he was in a fighting mood, and after being restrained by every military men, security guys, he wanted to fight. He even tried to headbutt one of the. I mean, people have a very incriminating footages, you know. So why do Yosa fans not point out the fact that
we have accepted the sanction?
Listen to my question. He could have been given 10 match bans. He could have been given a life ban. He could have been given 2 years ban, but he was given 4 match ban. You get my point? So why did I not talk about the fact that the sanction in that particular instance was lenient?
Why should we be given
He was
I
lucky
said he
enough.
could.
No, he
Why
was
should we
lucky
give
enough
him?
because I think he did not.
Did he touch the referee?
He never touched the referee. He never touched
He
the
did not touch
referee.
the referee.
No, he never touched the referee. Now let's take it this way.
Just move
Look
to the
at
referee.
a
Yellow card.
player like Cristiano Ronaldo when he had his first. There was this Clasico, Barcelona, Real Madrid. I cannot really give the year that he pushed the referee for a red card.
Yeah.
And he was given a match ban. We saw it. Put Hamza in that position. Just take Cristiano Ronaldo and put him in that Hamza's position.
Hamza's personality or his stature as a player in Elite One gives him. So that's what I'm talking about. Famous, you know.
I think honestly.
No, it's not about favors. It's not about favors.
He's talking about the 3 points, which is harsh. Which, admittedly, it could be harsh. But again, nobody mentions the fact that, honestly, even the player himself, if you ask him, he'll be like, man, I missed a bullet. Yeah, he will say because he was expecting the worst.
The truth is that he never touched the referee, but he had it in mind to touch the referee. He was
okay.
Do you
okay, guys, let's end here. We'll go on a break.
Did you hear what? Did you hear
we will
what?
go on a break.
Did you hear what?
We will go on a break, and when we come back, we are going to talk about the ambience, and then who we really thought overperformed or underperformed during these playoffs. Catch you right after this break.